Okay, so we will start the sharing of the teaching today. We will be taking one sutta, that is a string in our language. In Hindi also we use it as language of string. Why is it a string? Because it is a part of a whole. That is why it is called a sutta. So this is one of the teachings of the Buddha, and the teachings of the Buddha have been kept in different kinds of uh, baskets. So these are suttas. Then there is Vinaya, that is the rules of the monks. Then there is Abhidhamma. Now this Abhidhamma part has come later on, which is called the higher Dhamma. The word Abhidhamma has been used in the suttas, and it has been mentioned as something which we are teaching, which is higher. But what we are doing is we are directly teaching, not from any other part of the teaching. Sutta also has many different classifications. Like in suttas, there is middle length discourses. So this is a book of middle length discourses which is called Majjhima Nikāya. Then there are Saṃyukta Nikāya. These are topic based. Aṅguttara Nikāya, which is based on the numbers. Then there is Dīgha Nikāya, that is the longer discourses. And then there are different which are called Kuddaka, which are like miscellaneous. So there are different kinds of books in the sutta itself. So I'll be reading a sutta which is relevant to what you would be experiencing now, which are the hindrances, are the distractions. So as a bodhisattva, the Buddha also faced the same thing. He was a very accomplished meditator, but still he had distractions coming up. So as a practice, when we are doing the practice, we have to remember that even the bodhisattva, before he became a Buddha, had to face these distractions, these hindrances, the mind going here and there. So how did he deal with it? There is different techniques he used, and we will go through this technique which he is saying. This is from Majjhima Nikāya, Sutta number 19, Dveda Vitaka Sutta, that is two kinds of thoughts. So how he did this, I will explain. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living at Savatthi in Jetha's grove, Anatha Pindika's park. There he addressed the students thus. So there are certain words we will change. It is on original Pali, the word mentioned is bhikkhus. But my teachers, Bhante Vimalamsi, used to change it to students, because they were students of the Buddha, and you are also students of the meditation. So we will use the word students. Students, Venerable Sir, they replied. The Blessed One said this. Students, before my enlightenment, while I was still only an unenlightened bodhisattva, it occurred to me, suppose that I divide my thoughts into two classes. Then I set on one side thoughts of sensual desire. What are the thoughts of sensual desire? These are all the senses which we have. We have the visual sense, so of anything visual, of hearing, of smell, of taste, of tactile sensations, of the mind thoughts. So these are the six sense base which we have, and all the sensual desires which are there. Some people are visual, so they may be seeing pictures. Some people are kind of attracted to sounds, so they may be having that earworm, some song going on again and again in the. Some may have affinity to smells or taste. They may remember certain kind of dishes or certain kind of taste they had. Some may have tactile things, so that was a soft thing, that was a hard thing. So they are very kind of into the tactile things. Some are just addicted to thoughts. So there are all sense bases. So this, when we are saying sensual desire, it is about the whole of the six sense base. Okay, thoughts of ill will. So thoughts of ill will are any thoughts where you are feeling that you want to harm somebody, or you are not feeling kind of kind to somebody. So what we are learning is metta. Metta is opposite of ill will. We are saying loving kindness. What we feel good, we are sharing. But there are certain thoughts which are there which are against that. So if there are thoughts of ill will and thoughts of cruelty, so these are thoughts also of harm, of being cruel, and those thoughts are set aside to one side. And I set on the other side thoughts of renunciation. Renunciation is giving up. Renunciation is a kind of generosity. It's a kind of dana. And the meditation we are doing, the metta meditation, is a part of renunciation. We are renouncing and we are sharing. Okay, it's being generous. Thoughts of non-ill will. Thoughts of non-ill will is also metta. And thoughts of non-cruelty. Non-cruelty is compassion. So these are the thoughts he set aside into two baskets. That whatever thoughts come, he will set aside into one basket the thoughts which are harmful, and then the other thoughts which are useful. As I abided thus, diligent, ardent, and resolute, a thought of sensual desire arose in me. I understood thus: this thought of sensual desire has arisen in me. This leads to my own affliction, to others' affliction, and to affliction of both. So, when a thought came, he understood that this thought is there of sensual desire, okay, and that will not lead to my good, it will lead to my harm, it will lead to others' harm. So, what happens is that whenever there is a strong desire, there is a strong craving in one, then to achieve that thing, you will do something which is harmful for yourself also, maybe something which is harmful for others, and something which is harmful for both of you. So you see this in our life, which is that there are many people who are very greedy. In office, you can see this politics where backbiting is going on. Why is this going on? Because there is a strong desire for that next promotion, that position, or that transfer. Everything we want that. And then when the person or someone who is has strong desire, he may do certain things which may harm others, and he may do certain things which may harm himself. He may do certain things which may harm both of them.
So, for example, let's say a very extremely famished, very hungry person is meditating, and he feels like he has a sensual desire of having food. So, is that also harmful?
See, the thing which Buddha is saying is what is skillful and what is not skillful. Okay, so when that thought is coming up, is it helping his meditation, or it is getting a distraction? So you have to see in that manner. So you see this is a distraction or it is with the meditation. Okay. So in that way, that is how the whole explanation is going through. So it obstructs wisdom. So what happens is that when we have extreme desire in our mind, we are not wise. We will not take wise decisions. We will take foolish decisions. Causes difficulties and leads away from nibbana. So it will lead away from our goal of understanding. It will lead away from our goal of knowing how your mind's attention is moving. So it will lead away from nibbana. When I considered this leads to my own affliction, it subsided in me. When I considered this leads to others' affliction, it subsided in me. When I considered this leads to the affliction of both, it subsided in me. When I considered this obstructs wisdom, causes difficulties, and leads away from nibbana, it subsided in me. So when he thought that this thing which has come up, the distraction, is for my harm, for others' harm, and for our both harm, then he automatically your mind loosened the grip on that desire, on that craving. As I abided thus, diligent and ardent and resolute, a thought of ill will arose in me. a thought of cruelty arose in me. So when a thought of ill will arose, a thought of cruelty arose, he did the same thing. That he said that, does the thought of ill will help me? It does not. Does the thought of cruelty help me? It does not. So he abandoned it. Students, whatever a student frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of his mind. So this is very important statement. Whatever one thinks and ponders upon will become the inclination of one's mind. Okay, so where we give our attention, there we give our energy. So we can see that everything has food. Everything which survives on food. We survive on solid food, which is there, rice is there, wheat is there. We have that food to survive. But what is the food for our hindrances? What is the food for our thoughts? It is our attention. Our attention, where we give, there we feed that thing. So when we are feeding sensual desires, then we put our attention on sensual desire, we are feeding the sensual desires. When we are putting our attention on ill will, we are feeding ill will. When we are putting our attention on the cruelty, then we are feeding the cruelty. So wherever we put our attention, that will become the inclination of your mind. The inclination of your mind means that that is where your mind will incline. It will go in that direction. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of sensual desire, he has abandoned the thought of renunciation to cultivate the thought of sensual desire. And then his mind inclines to thoughts of sensual desire. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon the thoughts of ill will, upon the thoughts of cruelty, he has abandoned the thoughts of non cruelty to cultivate the thought of cruelty. And then his mind inclines to thoughts of cruelty. So you have to be careful about, in meditation, how your attention you are using. When you are putting your attention on the metta, then the feeling of metta will grow. But when yesterday I told you, when are you stopped meditating? When you have a distraction and you put your attention on the distraction and keep it on. When you recognize, you do not release. When you do not release, then what is happening, where your attention is there in distraction, so distraction becomes very strong. Then the next step is release. Recognize and release. Now why is this release? Now this release does not mean that you suppress. When you suppress, where do you put your attention on the hindrance, on the thought which has come up. And when you want to kind of get rid of it, where you have to put your attention? You have to put your attention on the thought again. So you are not to put your attention on the thought. Let it be like that. Abandon it. Okay? So abandon it means that something which you don't like, you just abandon. So let it be there, it is there. And then you move your attention, relax, re-smile, and return back to the object of meditation. You have to cultivate the object of meditation. As you cultivate a kind of any kind of seed which you cultivate, what you do? You give it food, you give it fertilizer, you give it water, you give it sunshine. Those are the food for a, say, potted plant. So you do all this to make it grow. So in the same way, what we do to make our feeling of metta grow is our attention. So it does not matter if the feeling of metta is very prominent or if the feeling of metta is very faint. Whatever the feeling is there, you put your attention and keep your attention over there and keep sharing it with your spiritual friend. Okay? Just so he's now giving a very good example. Just as in the last month of the rainy season, in the autumn, when the crops thicken, a cowherd would guard his cows by constantly tapping and poking them on this side and that with a stick to check and curb them. Why is that? Because he sees that he could be flogged, imprisoned, fined, or blamed if he let them stray into the crops. So like when in the village, when the crops are ready and the cow herd is there, he is taking his cow herds to pasture. So what he will do is, he'll be very careful that his cows don't go into the field, because if it goes into the field, what would happen? They can be a problem for him. No, he can be fined, he can be punished for letting the cows into the field, and the villagers will kind of get angry with him. That is the reason he is very careful to keep his cows out of the fields. So now the Buddha is saying that so too I saw in unwholesome states danger, degradation, and defilement, and in wholesome states the blessing of renunciation, the aspect of cleansing. So in this meditation, when we are starting off, we have to be like that cow herd. We have to be careful because our attention is inclined towards the unwholesome or inclined towards the distractions, and then it will go away. Then you have to keep it coming back. That is the right effort. That is when you recognize, you release, relax, resmile, and return back. That's the reason the Buddha is giving the example of constant effort. Sometimes he has to nudge over here, sometimes he has to nudge over here, but keep his cows in the path. In the same way, your attention are also like cows. They just go where they see grass, they just run away towards that, and that attention we have to just nudge and but in a manner which is not very forceful. Okay, so if you he used a lot of force, what would happen if he used a lot of force over here? All the cows would go into that field. If you use a lot of force over here, all the cows would go. So then using too much force is also not required. A balance is required. Productive level of concentration. Sister Khema used to use this word, productive level of concentration. So you have to, Bhante used to use the word collectedness. So your faculties, your attention should be collected on your object of meditation. As I abided thus, diligent, ardent, and resolute, a thought of renunciation arose in me. I understood thus, this thought of renunciation has arisen in me. This does not lead to my own affliction, to others' affliction, or to the affliction of both. It aids wisdom, does not cause difficulties, and leads to Nibbana. If I think and ponder upon that thought, even for a day and night, I see nothing to fear from it. But with the excessive thinking and pondering, I might tire my body. So he said that if there is a thought which is wholesome, which is related to the object of meditation, okay, which comes to me, if I put my attention on that, if a thought of renunciation comes, a thought of non-ill will comes, a thought of compassion comes, so then he can keep that thought on that, and there is no harm which is possible. So these are the states and Brahma Viharas. How much ever effort you do, how much ever effort, attention you put on that, there is no harm which can be from having a heart of loving kindness. There is no harm that can be possible. If you have compassion, there is no harm that can be possible. If there is a sympathetic joy, there is no harm that can be possible. If you have a equanimity, equanimous mind, there is no harm which will be possible. So he says that even if I do it for day, or if I do it excessively, then I may tire my body. If I say full day and night, 24 hours, you sit there, you may tire your body, but it will not harm you in any way. So one thing I will say is that when you are doing your meditation, if your meditation is good, okay, then you can continue sitting. Whenever you are getting up from the meditation, you should ask yourself, why am I getting up? What is the reason I am getting up? If you don't have a valid reason, then you say, I will sit for longer. Maybe if I will sit for 5 minutes longer, then you may have sat for half an hour also. Second time your mind will say, I should get up. And so why am I getting up? If there is no valid answer, then say, I sit for 5 minutes longer. Then third time, if your mind says, then you can get up. Okay. and then start doing walking meditation. And as soon as the walking meditation finish, come back and sit. Okay, the period which is given for the meditation, you spend the time for meditation. And one other thing is that aspect of samatha and vipassana. So over here, the relaxation is a very important, and what Hugh is teaching it in embodiment, and in physicality, he is also kind of seeing how important it is, the relaxation which is there. So that is the aspect of samatha, and vipassana is the aspect of learning. So you have to learn how your attention is moving. Not just that it has moved, but how it is moving. What happened before that? What happened before your mind attention move? If you recognize that, then you let go at that point of time. Okay? You may feel that there is something which is happening before your mind attention moves. And when you recognize that time I shall just relax, smile, and come back. Okay? So know how it is your mind attention is moving. It is also like an investigation, and how it is happening. So if you feel that there are certain places you are sitting where your mind gets disturbed, then don't sit in that place. If you think that there are certain postures you are sitting where it is uncomfortable or it hurts you, then you can use the chair. Okay, uh, to sit. Sit comfortably. I think you took the in the morning, no? So you have a lot of knowledge also about how to sit. So just sit comfortably and continue with your practice. So, as I abided thus, diligent, ardent, and resolute, a thought of non-ill will arose in me. A thought of non-cruelty arose in me. It's the same which is says. Students, whatever a student frequently thinks and ponders upon, that will become the inclination of the mind. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of renunciation, he has abandoned the thoughts of sensual desire. To cultivate the thought of renunciation, and then his mind inclines to thoughts of renunciation. If he frequently thinks and ponders upon thoughts of non ill will, upon thoughts of non cruelty, he has abandoned the thoughts of cruelty to cultivate the thoughts of non cruelty. And then his mind inclines to thoughts of non cruelty, just as in the last month of the hot season, when all crops have been brought into the village. So the fields have been cleared, they have been cut, and then the whatever are the grains have been brought into the village. Now the fields are all empty. A cowherd would guard his cows while staying at the root of a tree or out in the open, since he needs only to be mindful that the cows are there. So too, there was need for me only to be mindful that those states were there. So as you progress, okay, as you progress, your hindrances which are there, so that hindrances will slowly get reduced. And when that state of mind is there, then you will not be needed to do this active effort. So your effort will reduce as and when your hindrances are reducing. So as you kind of develop your object of meditation, then your what is happening is you are giving all your attention and energy to the object of meditation, and then what would happen is your hindrances will automatically be become weaker, because you are taking away hindrance energy from your hindrances and putting it on your object of meditation. So slowly what would happen is this will change, and when that happens, then like a cowherd in the summer season, he has not to worry anything, because his cows are not going anywhere. They will stay there in the tree. You can sit in the shade of the tree and just look at those cows, because they are not going to go into any field or harm anything. So in that, whatever states of minds are there, then you can just observe. So there are many students who can sit in that state for a long time. So if you think you are not able to sit long now, then there are many people who start out the retreats thinking that they will not be able to sit long, But as the retreat is progressing, some sit for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. In any retreat I have done, there is always a couple of them who sit for 5 hours or 6 hours. With my teacher Bhante, when I had done retreats with him, I have seen people sit for 12 hours and once 24 hours. One was a very kind of a gifted person. There are certain karmic also things which are there. She came with her sister. The sister has done a couple of retreats. And then she said that this is a very good meditation, come with me. So her sister joined the retreat. I think it was her first retreat. So and, then on the third day or fourth day, Bhante asked, how long did you sit? She said, I sat for 3 hours. So Bhante said, why did you get up? Why did you break the sitting? So she said that, oh, I broke the sitting because I had to go for lunch. Then I broke the sitting because I had to kind of hear the talk. So Bhante said, don't break the sitting. Sit as long as you can possibly sit. Then what she decided was, okay, when the talk is going on, I'll start my sitting. So at 6:30, when they started his talk, so I remember it was in Malaysia. So there is a Bodhi Heart. It's a very nice place. Hugh has also been over there. He has done his yoga uh, uh, workshop also over there. So she started sitting at 6:30, and then she sat through the whole night till the time of the breakfast at 6 o'clock or 6:30. So almost about 12 hours is that. So it will be natural and it is not a forced thing. Her sister complained, why is she sitting so long? She has, this is her first, she's just showing off. And I said, if you think that somebody can sit by force, then you sit and see if you can sit by force. You cannot sit by force. It has to be this natural process which is there, you allow it to happen. So the Buddha is, how the Buddha is explaining is, when the crops are not there, then you just have to be aware of that. And this will happen. This is just an encouragement. We are not kind of forcing you to sit longer, but it's if you kind of allow your mind to and your attention to kind of be with the object of attention, automatically it will develop. Okay, it will take certain people more time, certain will be taking less time, because there is also practice, there is also some karmic balances which are there. So depending on that, it will be there, but we show that it is an individual practice. It is for each individual, the practice is individual, it is not a collective practice. That's the reason from tomorrow we will have the interviews process. Okay. Did they provide us the schedule?
I haven't seen it, Bhante.
Okay. I did not bring my mobile.
May I just add something?
Uh-huh.
So the thing about sitting is, as Bhante says, it's an individual development. And as part of the retreat, we'll be telling you about the stages of understanding that you go through. But you don't necessarily have to do all of the stages of understanding to experience the culmination of this practice. Equally, you don't need to sit for long, long periods to experience the culmination of the practice. Some people will, some people never will. And it doesn't affect the practice. So don't feel that you need to do this. It's only if it evolves naturally and easily. If it becomes effortful, then just like in the yoga, you've moved into the physical realm. Now you can damage your body. Stay with the non-physical realm, the energetic, and the body will look after itself.
One second, Michael, can you do me a favor, and if the office is open, just ask if they have printed out the schedule for the interviews. So now the Buddha is explaining how he kind of progresses. Okay, what he was saying also was that for the progress is the understanding which is there. Now, how does the understanding kind of evolve? We will take that in detail tomorrow. Okay, this is given in brief, so we will just keep this in brief now, and we will take it up in detail tomorrow. Okay, each of the stages of the development of the mind which is there, that we will go through. Tireless energy was aroused in me, and unremitting mindfulness was established. My body was tranquil and untroubled, my mind collected and unified. So the mind being collected and unified means your mind is able to stay on the object of meditation. Okay, and then your body also has energy, and then there is mindfulness, means whatever arises and passes away, you are able to be aware of that. Okay, quite secluded from sensual pleasure, secluded from unwholesome states, I entered upon and abided in the first jhana. So slowly he progressed in the stages of understanding. Now jhana is also a lot of different explanation of jhana is there, but Bhante Vimaramsi gives the very simple explanation of the level of understanding. Jana or jankari, if you know this word in Hindi, you know. So what is it used as the information or knowledge. So these are the stages of jhana. Jhana becomes, I think, Chang in Chinese and Zen in Japanese. So these are the stages of understanding. You are understanding certain things, and certain things are retained and certain things are let go. As you kind of progress, there are certain things you let go and certain things you retain. And the wholesome you retain, and then what is gross will fall away, and then what is the finer thing will remain. So in this way, we will be explaining. There is another sutta, Majjhima Nikāya 111, which we will be taking tomorrow. Okay, and then we will go through this process. So after that, he explains the process of his own awakening. So it is mentioned as birth is destroyed. The holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. So what the Buddha is saying in this phrases is that when certain things which you require or need, then there is a generation of certain things. Okay, so there is a generation, birth of a desire which is there. But when there is when your complete understanding is there, and that birth of desires are not there anymore. So for a desire, for another birth to happen, there is a desires which are there. And when we have complete understanding, then we have complete abandonment of desires. So that is what Buddha is kind of alluding to over here. This was the third true knowledge attained to me in the last watch of the night. Ignorance was banished, and true knowledge arose. So ignorance is also a part of the dependent origination. The chart which we have given you starts with the first step is ignorance. Okay, so because of ignorance, certain things happen. So we will take more on this later. Okay, more on this aspects and more on the dependent origination, how this process works. I told you yesterday that when your attention is there on your object of meditation and goes to the distraction, there are certain steps it takes to reach there. So what are the steps which it takes? So that we will learn from the study of dependent origination. As we go along, we will be taking that. So ignorance was banished and true knowledge arose. Darkness was banished and light arose, as happens in one who abides diligent, ardent, and resolute. So if you are diligent, ardent, and resolute, definitely you will have progress. So the Buddha is promising that when you are diligent, ardent, and resolute in your task, then the progress will happen. Because as you are giving energy to your object of meditation, that will definitely grow, because that is the energy which is there. So you are in an untrained mind. The attention goes wherever the mind inclination is there. Okay, over here we are giving a specific inclination of the mind. They are giving, that is the reason this is called bhavana. The practice or meditation is called bhavana. That is development. That is shaping up. Okay. So we are shaping our perspective. We are shaping our mind. So like a potter will have a lump of clay that has no purpose. But when it is shaped, then it has purpose. But it is the same lump of clay, it has not changed. But because it has been shaped, it has become useful. So in the same way, we have all the faculties will be there with us. But if we shape it in a proper manner, then we will have it in a useful form that it will benefit us. Okay. So this I will explain later a little bit, because our interview process which is there will after this ends, the talk ends, will explain to you. Suppose, students, that in a wooded range there was a great low-lying marsh near which a large herd of deer lived. Then a man appeared desiring their ruin, harm, and bondage, and he crossed off the safe and good path to be travelled joyfully. And he opened up a false path, and he put up a decoy and set up a demming, so that the large herd of deer might later come upon calamity, disaster, and loss. But another man came desiring their good, welfare, and protection, and he reopened the path, safe and good path, that led to their happiness, and he closed off the false path, and he removed the decoy and dummy and destroyed the dummy. So, say if somebody, there was a marshy land where a hunter comes and lays the trap. So what he has to do is, what is the safe path for the deer, he has to close that path. Then he will put a kind of a straw deer. Okay, he will make something which looks like a dummy, so the deer say, oh, there are deer over there, so we will also go there. So then the deers are kind of directed towards the trap. But if, say, somebody else comes along and wanting the kind of the good of the deer, what he will do is, he will close off the bad path, open the good path, and he will destroy the dummy and the decoy which has been put, and then it will ensure that the deer don't come to harm. Students, I have given this simile in order to convey a meaning. So the Buddha talks in similes a lot, because what we cannot explain in 1,000 words, we can explain in a picture. The simile is kind of drawing a picture. Like when we have given this example, it's drawing a picture in the mind of a kind of a marshy land where the deers are there. So that is the reason Buddha uses a simile a lot. And there is a lot of places where this different kind of similes will be coming up. So they are very interesting. Some people kind of study the simile itself. They have and they kind of put it in books, and so they are very interesting aspect of Buddha's teaching. Students, I have given this simile in order to convey a meaning. This is the meaning. The great low-lying marsh is a term for sensual pleasure. The large herd of deer is a term for beings, means all beings. The man desiring their ruin, harm, and bondage is a term for Mara, the evil one. So the Mara, the concept is also in Indian kind of mythology as Maya. So there, and then there is a concept of devil in other kind of philosophies. And so the Mara over here is in two ways it is being explained. One is explained as a being, okay, as a being who is of the samsara, of the world, and he wants to keep the samsara. He's a being of the samsara, and he wants to keep this going, So he does not want people to go away or get awakened, because then he would have less customers. He's like a businessman. He wants more customers, and then he can give you this thing also, good things also. He is not always doing bad. There is another concept of Mara coming to claim the consciousness at the point of death. So I think mistakenly he has also been put as a yama, or somebody who kind of collects the soul. But that is not the whole purpose of Mara. The purpose of Mara is to just continue this existence. So he is not in that sense the sole purpose is not to harm you, but just to keep you in this cycle.
Notice that something. So the translation here, the word evil, the context of evil here means any action that perpetuates your presence in samsara. So it's evil against the Dhamma, if you like, rather than necessarily other connotations that we might have today of the idea of evil. Mara isn't trying to destroy you, to harm you, or it's just anything that will allow you to remain in samsara.
Correct. So over here, he also mentions the false path is the term for the wrong eightfold path. So we'll go through the eightfold path also as we go into the one of those days. We'll teach you the eightfold path. That is wrong view, wrong intention, wrong speech, wrong action, wrong livelihood, wrong effort, wrong mindfulness, and wrong concentration. Bhante Vimalramsi does not like the term right and wrong. So he uses harmonious, okay, and he changes the terms. So it is harmonious perspective, and then it is harmonious imaging, harmonious communication, harmonious movement, harmonious lifestyle, harmonious practice, harmonious observation, and harmonious collectedness. So this is the eightfold path which the Buddha is teaching. The decoy is a term for delight and lust. The dummy is a term for ignorance. The man desiring their good and welfare and protection is the term for the Tathagata. Tathagata is another word for the Buddha. Tathagata, there is a lot of different meanings they are given, but it is the common meaning is thus come or thus gone. So he is just referring to himself in that term, Tathagata. Accomplished and fully enlightened. The safe and good path to be traveled joyfully is the term for the noble eightfold path. That is right view, right intention. This is also translated as right thoughts also. Okay, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So students, the safe and good path to be traveled joyfully has been reopened by me, and the wrong path has been closed off, and the decoy removed, and the dummy destroyed. So the Buddha is saying that I have again opened the path. So why is he saying I have again opened the path? Because the path which is there, see, in a forest there is a path where the villagers are always going to the forest to collect the woods. That path is there visible. You can see in the village also that there is a path which you can see in the mud road which is there. But if it is not used for a long time, what would happen? The forest will grow again. Okay. So in that same way, when the teachings of the Buddhas are not there, then those things can be lost. And when the Buddha comes once again, then this again the knowledge is given once again, and the path is opened once again. Okay, and the Buddha is not a term for a person; it's a term for awakened being. Okay, so it is just a designation of awakening. So the Gautam Buddha we say, but there have been many Buddhas in the past, and there will be many Buddhas in the future also. So this is just whatever the Buddha is finding out what is the truth of the reality. So it is like like Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying that about science, that if every book of science was destroyed in this world, okay, and after 1,000 years we come back over here, all those books would have been restored, because that principles of the nature which are there are there and they will be again discovered. So there may be Newton who discovered it first time, but there will be somebody else who may discover that same thing. So in that same way, this is also the truth. That's the reason it can be discovered again and again and again. And it's a universal truth. It does not matter who kind of tries to find it. Anybody who kind of searches for it can find the truth. What should be done for his disciples out of compassion by a teacher who seeks their welfare and has compassion for them? That I have done for you. Students, there are these roots of trees, these empty huts. Meditate, students. Do not delay, or else you will regret it later. This is our instruction to you. So we have this hall, Dhamma hall, the hall which is there over there. We have the outside space. We have this garden. So you have to sit and meditate and continue your practice. So this is a practice which is there for your own understanding. So you have to think if there is a distraction and your inclination is very strong to go through that, then you have to remind yourself, is it for my good? Will I benefit from thinking about, say, my past, whatever had happened, incidents? Will I benefit from kind of cribbing about whatever present things which I find unpleasant? Or is it, will I benefit from thinking about the future where I will go over here, or I'll do this, or I'll plan this? Will it help me now? It will not. So then you should release it. Relax, smile, return, and remain on your object of meditation. Okay. So is there any questions for this sutta? Yes. Of? Yes.
How do we split between ambitions and wants? Okay. Let me just repeat the question. It's a question of understanding about wanting and not wanting, and what's appropriate ambition and what gets in the way. Would that be correct?
See, when we are looking at wanting and not wanting, we are looking at it in a context. Okay. So, say if you are in a area where there is a drought, you want rain, but when you are in an area where there is flood, you don't want rain. The rain is not the problem. The situation which you are there is the problem. So in that same way, when we are sitting in meditation, we have attention which is there, which can be there on only one object. Okay. So that can be the objects of meditation, which can be smile and your spiritual friend, and sending it to a spiritual friend. Those there are all wholesome things which are there. There your attention is there. Okay. Or then what takes it you away from your task? Okay. So the aspect is that what is taking you towards the goal, and what is our goal over here is to develop our attention, to develop our meditation. Okay. So what develops our meditation is the wholesome part, and what takes you away from meditation is the unwholesome part. So you kind of divide your kind of attention into two parts. Okay. One is the wholesome part where you are there on the meditation. You may be on the smile, you may be on the kind of feeling of the meditation, of the metta. You're on your radiating it to your spiritual friend. That is our path which is there. So if our attention is there on this path, then this is there. So anything which you else you want, okay, then that is a distraction. Okay. So in the physical thing also, when we say that certain things have to be kind of ignored in terms of pain, so we make it very clear that it is not the physical pain you have to ignore. Okay. Because you are working with the body itself, so you don't harm the body. Okay. So, but there are certain pains which are there, and in terms of starting your meditation, most of those pains are which are meditation pains. That is what is happening is your mind's attention is wanting you to take your attention away, and those are related to your habits. So we will be talking about habitual tendencies a lot. Okay, so when this happens, you do that. That is also a part of the dependent origination process. So when a certain feeling arises, you do this. So when you have to put that in that context. So when you are putting your attention in that context, then in every context you can use this practice. But for us, our practice is to develop the metta, karuna, mudita, upekha. That is the brahma, the path we are trying to develop. But if you say in a job which is there, then it could be whatever, when you are sitting on a computer, the computer can be your object of meditation. Okay, and if there is a office politics talks is going on, then you can say that as a distraction. Then you can recognize, release, relax, smile, and come back. So that can be your this thing. So wherever you are doing the practice, the context becomes very important. Okay. Yes.
So ambition is in teaching there is chanda, which is desire, and desire is neutral. What makes desire wholesome is your intention behind it. What makes your desire unwholesome is your intention behind it. So you can have ambition for your practice. That might be to stay with the movements of your mind and to release away from unwholesome states. What's not helpful in the practice is when we describe the levels of understanding is to have an ambition to be in a particular state. That's not helpful because that's not in your gift. And that will then become an obstruction. But then you could have the ambition to let go of the things that prevent you being in that state. Do you see the difference? Yeah.
And that also comes to the what is personal and impersonal. Okay, so what is there, those things which are mind states are there, those are impersonal states. You cannot generate those states, you do not control those states. You can what you can do is control your attention, and the other things which are there are byproducts. So those things which are impersonal, when you try to have control over there, that is where we cause dukkha. That is the kind of the fundamental kind of the reason for dukkha. When there is the reality is there and you go against the reality. So any other question? Yes. So why we say?
May I just repeat the question? I think the question is, what is the object of meditation? Do you mean the object to observe or the purpose of meditation? What is the object of meditation we observe?
So why we say object of meditation is because the goal of your attention will be changing. Okay, so that is we are incorporating all the goals of meditation which will be there in the progression of the goals. That's the reason we are using the term object of meditation. The object of meditation currently is metta. First 10 minutes standing to yourself, that is your object of meditation. Then sending it to your spiritual friend, that becomes your object of meditation. So that is the reason we are using this kind of broad term, object of meditation. So the object of meditation is what you are doing, and it will change as you progress. Okay.
The object is an anchor for your mind. It's so there's clarity in your mind about where to take your mind back to. Okay, and there could be many different things that could be the object of meditation. You might imagine a yellow circle in your mind. You might do your breath. But for this practice, it's metta, because metta is a very wholesome state, as Bhante described earlier. It's a blameless state. So if we return to a blameless state, we already return to an elevated mind. Whereas if we turn to our breath, the breath is neutral. It's not a wholesome or unwholesome state. But there's no knowledge within the metta itself. It's the anchor we bring the mind back to. All of the knowledge and understanding is in what takes you away from it and what brings you back to it. Okay, let me just repeat the question. So during the, I'm repeating the question so it's on the recording. So during your meditation, you forgot about the memory and you noticed there was a sense of uplift and happiness, and you had some tingling sensation in your hands. And then after a while, you thought, oh, I've forgotten about my memory. I need to get back there.
So what was your memory? That is the initial memory you were thinking about. Okay, so that does not matter. What your attention was kind of absorbed in the feeling, current, present feelings. So what has happened is your attention has gone from the practice to the feeling. So when that what has happened is you recognize that. What you do is release your attention from that, relax, re-smile, and come back to this feeling which is there in your heart. And then if it is you're starting off, then you send it to yourself. If you are there sending it to your spiritual friend, then continue sending it to your spiritual friend. Okay, it does not matter if that memory was lost, but what is lost is your attention which is there, that has gone through the sensation. So that is what which is there. We are not there to kind of experience the sensation, but we are here to kind of have this structure which we have given is that to keep your metta to yourself for the first 10 minutes and then you share it with. So then that is a normal thing to happen. And certain times what happens is those things which has happened on its own. Because the causes and conditions were right, then these sensations arise. Okay, so that is also impersonal. Okay, they have arisen on its own. You recognize where your attention is there. So your attention has gone to the sensation, which is not your object of meditation. Your object of meditation is to send this feeling to your spiritual friend. So then you come back to that, you recognize that, you release, relax, re-smile, and come back. So you have done the correct thing.
Can I just clarify? Can I ask you a question, Bhante? So as we're meditating, we have the sensation of loving kindness, and we've invited our spiritual friend to join. Then after a while, we become aware of other sensations. It's those other sensations we release away from and come back to the feeling of metta. Is that right?
Yes. And only when our that sensations, if they are there, it does not matter. Till the time our attention is centrally on our sending of the metta. So if our attention moves away to that sensation, then what is happening is you no longer have your spiritual friend with you. And that is the time you recognize, you release, relax, and come back. Okay?
So metta, can metta be something different than a memory? Let's say, like, if the context where you are meditating provides you like the actual experience, it could be your metta.
Yes. See, whatever experience, see, what you are saying is, I'll also just kind of, what you are saying is that when you are doing meditation, you get an experience. And then that experience, the memory of that experience can become your metta.
More or less, I think, for example, today, when I started here, my metta was very linked with nature and experiencing nature. But then I found a place there. And when I was meditating in the garden, so I said, this is basically the physical experience of what I was thinking when I was here. So then I had like a competition between my meta from my memory and also what I was experiencing. So I didn't understand what issues.
You were meditating over that time, or you are just you are sitting in meditation? Okay. So when you are sitting in meditation, you had the experience of nature. You are saying that there is a experience of nature you felt when you are meditating over here in the hall. And when you went into the nature, then what happened?
Basically, the experience was even more real. It was just that happening. It was not a memory anymore. It was like a real
Reality. Okay.
reality.
So see, there is in terms of kind of the more technical terms of how this attention works or the mind works. The memory and reality is not a differentiation. Whatever you are experiencing, that is real in that moment. So when you experienced over here was real, and what you experienced over there was also real. Okay, but you should not get your attention to the experience, because experience can be very powerful. That is distraction. Okay.
The experience is just the stepping stone to the feeling. And then this is a feeling meditation. So the feeling is your object. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, we can ask. So yeah, if that word kind of confuses it, then see, every word has a perception in it. Okay, so every word is a concept. Okay, so even a full stop is a concept. Bhante used to say that even a full stop is a concept. Okay, so there everything is a concept, and there is a perception which is there involved with that. So what happens is that when I say flat, what do you envision? Flat. Yeah. So, but when I say a flat, I may be saying an apartment, because that is the word we used in India. You are living in a flat. So there, the word which is there has a meaning, but that meaning also has a perception in it. Okay. So that is how we can say one word and it is perceived differently. So when the word is said in that manner, then you have to go with what aligns with you. So when you are saying that this is kind of distracting, when you are saying sending to the spiritual friend, then you kind of disregard that actually. You say that inviting your friend into this experience, share the experience as a kind of, then you go with that explanation. So whatever aligns with your understanding. So you have to understand that we are not trying to push it. Okay, because when we try to push it, we are trying to do something which we don't have control over, which is impersonal. So if you can visualize, and you can visualize this as he's saying that as inviting your friend into. If you then you can keep that as your reference point.
I felt like there was one point during my meditation where I didn't feel like I needed a memory. I felt that joy and happiness by itself, like in the moment. So do you feel that is a distraction?
No. So if you feel that you don't need a memory, then discard the memory. Okay. Just when you start your meditation, if you feel that you are having the feeling, then just send gently to yourself for 10 minutes, and then to your spiritual friend, or invite your spiritual friend again to yourself, whatever kind of works in your understanding. Okay.
But what if I'm finding joy in walking at that moment? So if I'm doing walking meditation and I find joy in my steps, then would that not be a distraction?
It is a distraction because you are not sharing that. Have your spiritual friend walk with you in joy, because we have to share it. So it is not a consumption of this experience. When you become consumer of this experience, then you have an attachment to this. So you are attached to something which you don't have a possibility of generating. This is impersonal. So that is the reason you have to keep your attention on the object. Okay, so the experience is not the reason for the meditation. The reason for the meditation is to develop your wisdom. And how do you develop your wisdom? By knowing what is impermanent, how these things are impersonal, and how this is causing you dukkha. How, when is the dukkha caused? When there is a resistance. When this feeling is that it goes away, that causes dukkha. Because you are feeling good with this. So whenever you try to hold on to something, it will go away. Bhante used to say that the fastest way to let go of your joy is to hold on to the joy. So that is a process of learning. So just share with your friend. If you are feeling joy, then just share with your friend this joy. You can just imagine your friend walking with you also. Yes. So for our purposes, I'll go into detail in how what we are going to do this thing. So for our purposes, when you are sitting, when you start your sitting till you end your sitting. So when do you end your sitting? That I have explained yesterday. So when you are moving your posture, okay, it does not matter if you are going down and you just straighten yourself. That does not matter. What matters is, say, if you are sitting like this and you change your leg position, don't do that. So if you did that, that will be breaking the session. Then that time you get up and walk. So from this time you started walking to the time you stopped walking, that would be the walking session. Okay. So when we say 15 minutes, walk for 15 minutes, then that would be from the starting of walking. Then again when you sit to again when you get up, that would be the sitting session. See, sessions are asked when we are asking about sessions and the duration of the sessions. We are asking because that gives an indication, certain indications to us, which helps us kind of guide you. Okay, that is the only reason. But the whole process is a part of the meditation. Okay. It can be considered one meditation, but for our purposes, you have to keep the time of the sessions. Okay, so sitting sessions, you will have to keep the time. So that is important in this thing. Okay, so that you remember that if you sit at say 1 o'clock and get up at 2 o'clock, then you remember that 1 o'clock, 1 hour was the time you said. Okay. Yes.
You mentioned that this metta feeling is personal. You can bring it up if you want to. And to summarize, what are the conditions that have to be present that this feeling can arise?
So that is what the memory is there for. Okay. So when you have that memory of a kind of a joyful memory in the past which has happened, then that feeling can be generated. Certain times there is certain things which you are connected, which is joy. Like one of my students was connected with the trees. When he thought about a big, very luscious tree, then his feeling of joy would arise. And he had an experience also in the meditation where he saw himself as a very big and beautiful tree. And then he kind of had this realization that is a memory of his past life where he was a tree. So that can be a very kind of strong connection. That's the reason when he thinks about tree, he has a lot of joy rising in him. Certain students of ours were kind of attracted to dolphins. So whenever I think of dolphin, I'm full of joy is there in my heart. So then that is just a memory which is there, you know. So then that can be used. And memory can be used in many manners, like what he was talking about, the feeling which is there, the strong feeling of nature which is there, which has come up, that can be used in the meditation. Okay, so those memories which are there is used to balance your mind also. Like if there is a strong feeling of ill will is there in your mind, say, then you can use your memory of metta and put your metta attention on the metta, so it balances your mind. If there is a strong feeling of cruelty in your mind, you can use your memory of compassion and put your attention on compassion to balance the cruelty. If you have a strong kind of dissatisfaction, oh, I don't have this, I don't have, then you can use the mudita, being happy for others. One way of looking at the cruelty and the dissatisfaction, the Buddha says, is if you see the richest person, the best, the most kind of the popular person, you have sometime been over there. You have sometime been more richer than Elon Musk, okay, in your lifetime, in the previous life. So you have to be happy for them. There should be mudita. So that balances off your feeling of inadequacy. Okay, if you see somebody in the worst situation, you see in the wars which are happening now in Ukraine and in Israel and all those things, such cruelty is there. That experience you have had. That's the reason you have compassion for that. So that is used, memory is used to balance that. Then when there is aversion is there, then you use equanimity. So equanimity is only achievable through meditation. Okay, equanimity has a unique quality which can only be achieved through meditation. It cannot have come in the lay life. It can only come through your understanding, because the awareness part is there. For this balance, the awareness is there. Even there is adukha asukha. There is no pain nor kind of pleasure. No pain or not pleasure is a normal thing which we have experienced, but there is no memory for that, and there is no awareness for that. That can be like when you are maybe traveling comfortably in a bus, and after 10 minutes, you know, a lot of distance has passed on, and then you may just distract yourself. What happened for the 10 minutes? That 10 minutes was neither pleasurable nor painful. But there what was missing over there? The awareness was missing. So that awareness level is kind of achieved at the meditation. So that memory of equanimity can be used when there is aversion in your mind. So like pain is there. So then you can bring up your memory of equanimity and balance that. So you can use this memory to do that. That is the reason we start with a memory. But if it is not required, then abandon the memory. Okay, anybody who can sit and just feel the metta, then just start with the metta. Okay. Yeah.
You mentioned that that equanimity can be understood through meditation, which means that, like, to experience, we have to experience it in meditation first.
No, it will happen on its own. You do your work, and it will come.
It cannot be experienced through like lay life, like
because the awareness aspect is missing. When you experience that same kind of bodily sensation, that time it is called neither painful nor pleasurable. That is also explained, equanimity is also explained as neither painful nor pleasurable. But what is the ingredient which is there in it is awareness. Because you are aware of that thing, that becomes equanimity. You have experienced a lot of periods where you are neither been in pain or nor in pleasure. Just sitting in the afternoon or Saturday morning or Sunday morning, just sipping coffee. You are not in pain, not in pleasure. You're just waiting for the next thing to happen. My friend will come and we'll go for the whatever has to be done. So that is the period which is there. But the awareness is missing. Okay.
like when I was meditating, I was So I was aware that surrounding noises were there, but I was not getting distracted. At the same time, I was not feeling joy, but just calmness.
Correct.
So is it a distraction also?
That is a state which is very near to equanimity, because your awareness is there for that. And when that feeling is there, then just share that feeling with your friend.
The calmness also.
Yeah, just share this calmness with your friend. Whatever you have, you share.
I'm just wondering into the way, like this feeling of joy. So I'm connected, at the same time, I'm very much aware of whatever is happening. I'm not getting distracted. Like the feeling is still there.
Correct.
It is continuation of my
Yes. No.
Can I just add something about equanimity? Because there are times in daily life where we feel that we're equanimous. But this is more akin to the fact that we've satisfied desire for that moment. And so that for that short period, we don't have any desire or aversion. Yeah? But this is not something we've cultivated. It's only a byproduct of the fact that we've satisfied a desire. And so there's no learning. There's no understanding that comes from that. And when another desire comes up, then the equanimity is gone. Whereas the equanimity Bhante is talking about is in the face of desire. The mind is equanimous.
There is a good sutta over here. We'll take it later on. It has a very technical terms. So there about pain and pleasure and equanimity and neither painful nor pleasurable states, all is explained. So we'll take them later. Any other questions? If I can go through this process of interviews now, if there are no questions. So what would happen is we have a list over here. It's a timetable, okay? So now this will be put up, maybe one of them can be put up over there in the lunch area, and one or two, one can be put up over here, and one can be put up where we are going to take the this thing, interviews, okay? So this will be put up, and we'll just discuss regarding individual things. So now what would happen is that one second, this so how will the interview process go? Okay, so this interview process is a structured process. So there are 5 questions we'll be asking you. Okay, so the first is, what is your object of meditation? Okay, why we are asking you is because there can be more than there can be different for different people. So first we'll ask you, what is your objective of meditation? So for most of you it will be metta. For advanced students it will be whatever appropriately, so that we know that object of meditation. What is your object of meditation? Now when we ask about the longest sitting, we say that what was your longest sitting till now? Okay, so in 24 hours what was the longest sitting? So tomorrow we meet, from the time you came till tomorrow when you meet us, what was your longest sitting? Was it 30 minutes? Was it 45 minutes? Was it an hour? Okay, so that is how you have to mention that what is your longest sitting. So if you had say 10 sittings, okay, in this period, and there are mostly 30 minutes, 45 minutes, but one sitting was say 1 hour, then you mention this 1 hour, and that is the 1 hour we will ask questions about. Okay, then we'll ask you how much time was your attention on your object of meditation before it moved away. This is an approximate answer. Okay, so when you are there on your object of meditation and you moved away, and then you have to 6 hours to come back. So that is estimation. Somebody may say 5 seconds, somebody may say 10 seconds, but that is just, it felt like 10 seconds, it felt like maybe 10 minutes. Okay, so what did it feel like? Okay, now this question is very important. What did you do when your attention moved away? And one answer is not applicable over here, is 6R. You have to say what you did. You cannot say the word 6R. If you say that, okay, I recognized it, I released it, I relaxed, I smiled, I returned back, that is the answer. You cannot say the term 6R. Okay? You have to say in your own words what you did. Okay? And we will ask one more question, is there anything else which happened interesting happened in your meditation? Was the feeling coming, moving, or something else happened? Like we had some experiences which we shared over here. So that experience you can share. Okay? And this is also a time for you to ask any questions or doubts. So this is the 5 questions. So one is, what is your object of meditation, which is very easy. Second is, what is the length of time, the longest session. Okay? So only one session you have to remember, the longest session. Then what was the time you were able to be at the object of meditation? Okay, it was 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever was the time you felt. It feels like, it felt like. So you don't have to be exact in it. So sometimes what happens is you get too specific. You don't have to get too specific. It is general ballpark. Okay, just ballpark. What was the time? Okay. Then what you did when your attention was moved away, when you recognized your attention has moved away, and then is there something new which happened? These are the 5 questions which will be asked. So
the period that you're on your object of meditation isn't the period that you just experience the loving kindness. Because you may have background thoughts going on. You may be aware of the dogs barking in the background. You might be aware of the breeze on your face. But if this hasn't taken you away from the feeling of loving kindness, then you're still practicing. It's not just the feeling of loving kindness. What we're interested in is when you have gone away and you are no longer aware of the loving kindness. Okay? The background stuff in your brain, don't worry, that just goes on. As long as you're aware of the loving kindness, this is fine.
Okay. So this is a list which has been printed. So this would be your, we did not get labels also, no?
No, but I'd just like to take them through the list.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a group A and a group B. Both myself and Bhante will be in your interview. We're not going to split up because the group we can do together. So I want just to go through and call the names, and you just raise your hand. So first of all, Venerable Tashi Chomjong. Okay, so you're the first person. No one's going to remind you to come. You have to remind yourself. Okay, but when you leave your interview, you will be looking for Alison Parker. All right. When Alison Parker leaves her interview, she will be looking for Arunima Goel. Okay. When Arunima Goel leaves her interview, she will be looking for Michael Schuster. Okay. When Michael Schuster leaves, he will be looking for Shreya Jindal. When Shreya Jindal leaves, she will be looking for Sarah Hayden. When Sarah Hayden leaves, she will be looking for Shinaz Mittal. When Shinaz Mittal leaves, she will be looking for Kiran Rawat. Okay. When Kiran Rawat leaves, she will be looking for Aṅguttara Rati. When Aṅguttara Rati leaves, he will be looking for Gagandeep Singh Gil. All right. Okay, now, when Venerable Tashi Chunzun leaves, the next person in isn't the person she's looking for, but the first person in group B.
So there'll be A1 and B2. You both will come together. Huh? Yukina, Venerable Yukina, you would also be there. At 9, you will be there. Okay. So as soon as she leaves, then you will come up.
So when Venerable Yakina leaves, she'll be looking for Nidhim Kocha. When Nidhim Kocha leaves, he will be looking for Piku Atri. When Piku Atri leaves, he will be looking for Shubham Olan. When Shubham Olan leaves, he will be looking for Andres Felipe Quintero Caldas. When Andre leaves, he will be looking for Shivam Agwal. When Shivam Agwal leaves, he will be looking for Bhati Karma. When Bhati Karma leaves, she will be looking for Franz Öztelle. When Franz leaves, he will be looking for Joystan Fernandez.
Okay,
So
one thing.
Notice one person that's not included. Are you joining the retreat or are you just here for this today? Okay.
Okay. So one thing we just wanted to clarify is that there is certain there are 3 people who have given after 2 lunch break. Okay, over here in the list. What may happen is in the initial days there may not be a lot to talk about. Okay, so they may be called early. Okay, around 11 o'clock or something like that, or 11:30 or 11:40. So be prepared to come at that time. Okay, so only these 3 people may be affected: Ankit, Jyotsna, and Gagandeep. Okay, so you may be called a little bit early, so just be aware of that. So these are the 3, and we can have somebody volunteer to put them across. One, we can put it in a hall where everybody can see. One, we can put it over that notice board over there, because we'll be taking in my kind of hall area they have given me.
Oh, yes.
So that there we'll have the interview.
Out of this door, straight across is another door. That will be the interview room.
So there's this notice board over there. There you can put, and one you can put over there in the dining area, so people are aware. Huh? So just be aware of whatever your name is there in the list, and the timing is there. When we have just established who will call whom. Okay, so then just ensure that you are sitting at least that time. You sit in an area where you are there, or inform them beforehand that I'll be sitting over here or something like that. Okay, so you would have to only worry about one person, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so you want to add something?
I don't think so.
Okay, so yes, there will always like it will start with 2 people. So say A1 goes and calls A2. Okay, and when we are talking to B1, okay, then the other A2 will come and sit. So we can complete this in a quicker manner. So one after another we can. So then if one goes and he's searching, then we have to just sit. And then we have a limited time to speak. So we can optimize your time which we are spending with you. No? So, yes. So it will be 9 a.m. it will start, 9 a.m. So at A1 and B1 will come at 9:01. Okay.
The room opposite of this.
Yes, we have not still set up where we are going to sit.
No, we need to just sort that out.
Okay. Okay, then you would have this page. which is sharing of merits. So this is basically whenever a talk is given or a wholesome act is done, there is a earning of merit. So when this earning of merit is there, when we share the merit, then there is a earning of merit or sharing the merit. And if you are happy for others earning merit, then also there is a earning of merit for you. That is called anumodana. So that we rejoice in the you earning merit. So that also you get merit. That is the thing. So we will start. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, and now you can continue your practice. If you want to go relieve yourself, or what is the situation with the people who are having dinner? They will have now, or did they have it previously? Whoever has planned for having dinner? Huh? Soup. So you will be having it now, no? At 5 you had. So okay, then what you do is you take a 5-minute break. If you want, you can do your walking meditation first. Go to the loo and then come back and continue your meditation. Okay, and from today, try and be over here doing meditation till 10. You can do if you have self-discipline with the bed over there. Many times what happens is the bed has a lot of attraction, the magnetic force. So if you have self-discipline, okay.